My heart swelled with pride as I watched my daughter round second base. The outfielder then made an error and threw the ball back into the field. Brooke didn't even slow down as she watched the left fielder throw. I held my breath as Brooke barely made it to third base. How many times have I told her to never make the first or last out of an inning at third base? The fans on our side of the field let out a collective sigh. It was the bottom of the ninth inning of a district championship game. 9 innings. After the game ended, the score was tied, and now, in the second overtime, Brooke hit a triple to start the game. I've been a baseball fan my whole life, but I've never been more excited or nervous than I was at this moment. My daughter seemed determined to win the game, even if she had to do it alone. The next batter struck out 3 pitches. Now we had 1 out and a runner on third. The next batter hit the ball to third base. Their girl playing third base was good. She watched Brooke walk back to the bag and then threw the ball to first base and added a little extra play. Brooke rushed home. I couldn't make a sound. A lump the size of an apple formed in my throat. It seemed like everything was happening in slow motion. The first baseman caught the ball and passed it to the catcher. Brooke slid to the back of the plate as the catcher brought the ball up for a tag. It was so incredibly close. Time stood still. Everyone was waiting for the judge's decision. After what seemed like an eternity, he spread his arms down and out to the sides, palms flat on the ground. Pandemonium broke out. Tears streamed down my cheeks. I watched as Brooke's teammates pushed her behind her and pulled her into a group hug. For a moment, I felt sad that the other team couldn't win either. They put in an incredible effort, but only one team can come out on top, and that's part of the game. I was sitting in the car as Brooke walked across the parking lot. She laughed and joked with her teammates. Has there ever been a more beautiful, smarter, more athletic girl in the world? I was filled with love for this young beauty. "Hello, Father," Brooke greeted, sliding into the passenger seat. "How did you like this game? Just don't start talking about making the first out on third, Dad." "Brooke, there are some basic truths in baseball that have been proven time and time again. This is one of them," I replied. "I didn't come up with it, but it's a fact. What about the fact that my arm was sore and I didn't think I could pitch another batter, let alone another inning?" she asked. "I knew we had to do it in that inning or we'd end up in deep you-know-what. We better fill the ice today, Brooke. I didn't know your arm hurt. Did you tell your coach?" I asked Ed. "No, Dad. This would put her in a difficult position. She would have to pull me out, and she had no one else to put in place. Nancy has a sprained ankle, and Stephanie has some kind of flu. Now next week we will go to the States," Brooke grinned. "This is certainly better than ending the season, isn't it?" I admired the child sitting next to me who was driving. I changed her dirty diapers and taught her to ride a bike. Showed how to throw, catch, and hit. Now she's the reason her school won the district competition and is about to go to the States. I smugly took some credit for her many academic and athletic successes. "Where are we going, Dad?" Brooke asked. "You missed the turn onto Highway 6. We're going to celebrate the victory in the district, my dear. I've heard that the new Hilton Hotel in Wilkes Barre is rumored to have one of the best restaurants in the area. I think we both deserve a big steak and baked potato," I announced. "Dad, you're the one who likes steak and potatoes. I'm going to order lobster. I might suggest you wash down your steak with a glass of frosty MGD," Brooke laughed. "Hey, I never thought about it, but now that you suggested, I might do it, Brooke." "You are a genius." "Yes, I know. The fact that we spent our entire lives recycling those beer cans is imprinted on my brain, Dad. Rather, I must be an idiot not to know what you like." "You're not that original, you know," Brooke chided. When we entered the restaurant, there was already a 10-minute line waiting for a table. I was handed one of those things that lights up and vibrates when it's my turn. I sat down on the bench while Brooke went to the ladies' room. She returned about 5 minutes later. I didn't pay much attention to it, and only after a few minutes I noticed that tears were running down Brooke's cheeks. "Brooke, what's up, baby? Does your hand hurt? What's the matter, honey?" I asked. "You know that my mother couldn't come to my game because she had to go to Philadelphia for work?" Brooke sobbed. "So that's it. Brooke, You know your mom has a high-stress job at an insurance company that requires her to travel a lot. She really wanted to go to your game, but her schedule didn't allow it, I reasoned. Don't be upset about it, honey. She will most likely come to the States. I don't care if she ever comes to my game. She could be going straight to hell. Broke screamed. I was stunned. Brooke never spoke ill of her mother or used vulgar language, although she sometimes heard it from me. Her emotional outburst was a complete shock to me. Oh, Dad, you are as blind as I am. Mom didn't go to Philadelphia. She's sitting inside with some cunning bastard, holding hands with him and laughing. She doesn't care about all of us. Brooke couldn't have surprised me more if she told me she just signed with the Yankees. My wife, Brooke's mother, is involved with another man? I felt dizzy. Brooke wrapped her arms around me and began to sob. Tears also began to flow down my cheeks. How could one of the best days of our lives fall into oblivion so quickly? I pulled away from Brooke long enough to return the vibrator alarm to its owner, then hugged Brooke and led her back to the car. He helped her into the car and then climbed into the driver's seat. I didn't start the car because I could barely see. The two of us sat in the parking lot for another 10 minutes. Gradually, the nausea, shame, and horror subsided, and I was able to dry my eyes and concentrate. Brooke, are you sure it was your mother? I asked quietly. It is quite possible that you were mistaken. We can get upset over little things. It could have been someone similar to Natalie. Perhaps this is what you saw. Exactly, Dad. What? I don't know what my own mother looks like? There are probably several thousand purple Lexus SUVs around with license plates named Nat, like that one over there. I must be imagining things, Brooke wailed. I looked in the direction she pointed and saw Natalie's car a few rows ahead of where we were sitting. It was impossible to make a mistake. Sorry, Brooke. I guess I was just trying to deny that this could happen to me, to us, I apologized. It's obvious that your mother is in that hotel. She lied to both of us and is cheating on me. We must accept this fact and decide what to do next. And then my mobile phone rang. I knew who it was even before I looked at the screen. This is Natalie. I didn't want her to realize that Brooke and I knew where she was and what she was doing. At least not until I can decide what to do next. Hi, Natalie, I answered as calmly as I could. Hi, darling, Natalie exclaimed. How did the game go? I really want to know who won. A game? We won it, and next week we go to the States. Brooke played well. I underestimated. Give her the phone, dear. I want to congratulate her and tell her how proud I am of her. I wish I was there. Natalie lied. Well, she's with some of her teammates right now, Natalie. I'll pass on the message, I promised. Are you in Philadelphia now? As I speak, I'm driving along Broad Street, Natalie laughed. The traffic here is slow, so I decided to call and find out how it went. Be careful in this new car, Natalie. You're in your Lexus, aren't you? I asked. Of course, Tim. I like this car. It's very safe and not as thirsty as your Ford. I have to go, Tim. I'm almost at the hotel. I love you and I'll call you again tomorrow, she promised. I hung up and looked at Brooke. It seemed like she was about to break down again. Then she snorted and smiled at me. To hell with her. Really, Dad? Brooke asked rhetorically. We can live normally without her, perhaps even better. We can if you stop using profanity, young lady. Things may have turned to crap, but that's no reason to act like you're low class. I raised you better, I chided. Sorry, I was just so angry and it felt like swear words were the only way to approach the situation, Brooke explained. I'm better now, but I'm worried about you, Dad. At first, I only thought about how little my game meant to her. She'd rather sneak out than watch me play in the district championship. I didn't even think about how terrible you feel. Well, it certainly hurts. I admit it. I do not know what to do next. It's such a shock. I can't even think normally. Really, Dad? I'd think you'd throw her sorry ass out so fast she'd be dizzy. She has absolutely no respect for you or me. This lie, even without a boyfriend, would be enough to divorce her, don't you think? Asked Brooke. It seems that it would be so, but over the years I realized that it is better to think things through rather than act hastily. I can always file for divorce. I just have to be sure that this is the best course of action, I replied. Dad, do you have a spare key for Mom's car? If there is, please give it to me. Yes, Brooke, but why do you need it? I asked. It seems to me that this will be the last proof. If the key fob works on the car over there, we'll be sure Mom isn't staying at some hotel in Philadelphia, Brooke reasoned. I gave Brooke the key and she trotted towards the car. Approaching her, she pressed the button on the key fob, and I saw the headlights blink. To my surprise, Brooke climbed inside and started Natalie's car. She waved as she passed me. I quickly started my car and turned around to follow her. I didn't have to travel far to get it. She drove around the block, pulled into the Best Western parking lot, drove to the back corner, and jumped out. As she approached my car, she pressed the button to lock Natalie's car. Then she climbed up to me. This is just a small piece of how Mom's life will unfold, Natalie laughed. Imagine when she can't find her car. She can't report it stolen in Philadelphia. Her story will fall apart during police interrogation. If she reported it stolen here, she'd have to explain why the car was here when she said she drove it to Philadelphia. Lies complicate everything. I didn't know whether to be proud of Brooke or make an appointment for her to see a psychiatrist. I would never have come up with such a brilliant idea. But the more I thought about it, the more I liked her. Let Natalie learn firsthand how lies can bite you in the ass. We stopped at a Burger King a few miles down the road and had some fries and a hamburger. Then we headed home. Brooke began asking thought-provoking questions. How long do you think Mom has been running behind your back, Dad? Do you think she's done this many times? Why do you think she does this? How was your personal life with her? Brooke, I thought about it. She's been very kind to me in the bedroom lately. I really can't complain about it. As for how much and how long ago, I have no idea. I never thought she was particularly slutty, I admitted. Obviously, I had no idea anything was wrong. I bet she started when she started acting especially sexy with you. Women do this to reduce their guilt. How long ago did she start this? Brooke asked. Don't know. Probably for the Christmas holidays. I thought life was going great for the last 5 months. I know that Natalie is absent more than usual, but she always seemed to be trying to make amends, I admitted. For some reason, discussing intimate details of my sex life with my daughter seemed completely normal. We have always been close. We have become even closer. For a 17-year-old, Brooke was surprisingly mature in many ways. Sex was never a taboo topic in our house. Natalie and I felt we should always be honest and open when discussing this with Brooke. We wanted her to understand the dangers and pitfalls of becoming sexually active too early. You know that you need to go to the doctor for an examination, right? You don't know who her lover was with, do you, Dad? Everyone he slept with could be said to have slept with you if we talk about illnesses, Brooke warned. You should also buy condoms if you plan to continue sleeping with your mom. Brooke, I'm not going to buy condoms. Wouldn't that be a strong sign that I'm suspicious of something? Your mother is not a fool, although she acts like one, I added. However, I can't have sex with her anymore. I lost all desire to have intimacy with her. I'll go get checked out and just find ways to distract your mother until I decide what to do next. Just make sure you take care of yourself, Dad. I will depend on you more than ever. When you decide to divorce her, I will live with you. That's for sure, Brooke stated categorically. Why are you so sure that everything will end in divorce, Brooke? Is it impossible that Natalie and I can work things out? Dad, you are always gentle and kind to Mom and me. But I know what you think and feel. You will never be able to come to terms with the fact that your mother is lying to you, even if you could forget about sex. It's already in the past, and the only question is when you will accept this fact, Brooke predicted. I wondered how many men in my position, and there must be millions of them over the years, have a smart daughter with whom they can discuss everything. Brooke kept me from falling apart. She forced me to look at the situation logically rather than emotionally. She pursued only my interests and had no hidden intentions. Could a person have a better confidant? The next day, I made an appointment with the doctor. After work, I stopped by the school to pick up Brooke after practice. I arrived a little earlier and watched the girls train. Other parents vied with each other to praise Brooke's performance in the district. I felt pretty good about it, and lousy about my marriage. Natalie appeared at the door around 7. I tried to greet her as usual, but it seemed weak to me. I wondered if Natalie would notice. I shouldn't have worried. "I missed you so much, Tim," Natalie exclaimed. "I'll show you how much later. By the way, I wanted to ask, do you still have a spare key for my car?" "Of course, here it is, in my pocket," I replied, reaching inside and pulling out her spare key. "Have you lost yours?" "No, otherwise I wouldn't be able to get home, would I?" Natalie answered a little too quickly. "I just thought I should have a spare one in case I lost mine." "Okay," I agreed, and handed her the key. She must have found her car, but she had suspicions about how it had been moved. Now she will be more careful. As if on cue, Brooke entered the room. "Hello, Mom. How's Philly doing? Did you have a good time?" she asked. "I didn't expect to have a good time, Brooke. These meetings are long and difficult," Natalie insisted. "They are not funny." "Okay, Mom. Long and difficult, but not fun. I'll memorize." "Why do you continue to work if you suffer so much?" Brooke wondered. "Dad makes good money, and you are smart. You could find something that will give you more free time to spend with us. Most of the time, I love my job. Plus, I won't always spend so much time traveling. I think by the end of the year, everything will calm down, and then I will have a lot of time to spend with you. You will see." Natalie carried her small suitcase into the bedroom and closed the door. Brooke motioned for me to follow her into the kitchen. "Did you hear that, Dad? It looks like her lover will be moving out by the end of the year, and then you can take your mom. How do you like this deal? Lies and possible sexually transmitted diseases for another 6 months or so, and then it will all be over, unless she finds a new one, of course." "Can you live with this decision?" Brooke asked. "You brought too much out of one sentence, Brooke," I remarked. "This may not be what she said, and most likely, everything is wrong. Remember, I grew up next to both of you, and I know how you both think. Mom thinks she can have this affair, and then go back to her normal life next year and no one will get hurt," Brooke argued. "Well, that's a moot point, Brooke. I can't live with this situation for long. I can't live even a day with him. This is real stress for me," I admitted. "Well, everything will remain this way until you take steps to resolve the situation, Dad. These things don't go away on their own. You know. That evening I told Natalie that my back and head hurt, but even then she told me to lie still and let her do all the work. It took some effort to talk her out of sex. This is what my life has come to. I have to convince my own wife not to have sex with me. This really angered me. The next evening, as I watched Brooke's team finish practice, several of the girls' mothers seemed friendlier than usual. Brooke noticed this too. She mentioned it on the way home. "Dad, did I see Emily's mom holding your hand while talking to you? It looked like she was pressing her breasts against your hand." "It's no accident when a woman does this," Brooke assured me. "Then I saw Mrs. Thomas offer you a drink of her soda. Looks like you've suddenly become a stud among softball parents." "It seemed strange to me too," I admitted. I had the distinct feeling that these women were unusually friendly for some reason. "Could it be that since you will soon become free, they are queuing up to sign a contract with you?" Brooke asked. "What exactly are you talking about, Brooke?" "They don't know that I can become free. Besides, my market value is not that high," I concluded. "I may have mentioned to the girls in the locker room last night that my mom was cheating on you," Brooke said. It was especially interesting to hear about this from Emily and Steph. Over the past few years, both their fathers have left their mothers. They thought you would make a good stepfather. Apparently their mothers agree. I was again amazed by what my daughter said. She told her teammates that Natalie was cheating on me. Why not just write about it in the newspaper and online? What were you thinking about? This isn't something everyone needs to know, Brooke. This is very embarrassing for me. Haven't you thought that maybe other people already know, Dad? Isn't it even more awkward to be ignorant in a situation that everyone else knows about? The girls already know about this. Trudy's mom saw your loving wife and man walk into that hotel room a few weeks ago while she was there for a conference. The only difference is that now the girls' mothers know that you know about your mother's betrayal, so it won't seem like they are destroying the family. Let's face it, our family is pretty well ruined as it is, Brooke concluded. How many times can you shock someone before it becomes normal and no longer shocking? Other people knew I was a cuckold. For some reason, this made everything that was happening seem even worse. The last shred of pride was ripped out of me. After this week, nothing could surprise me anymore. That's not all, Dad. Sarah had been complaining since last winter that her father was often away from home. She told us last week that they are moving after Thanksgiving because the insurance company her father works for is transferring him. Last night, Trudy's mom saw Sarah's dad picking her up after practice. And guess what? She recognized him as the same person she saw with her mother. This evening, I went with Sarah to her car and made sure of this. He is the same guy who was with her that evening when I saw them. All this information made my head spin. And how did the children manage to find out so much? Could all this be a coincidence? Is there even such a thing as coincidence? Can our children know us that well? Why did I even pretend to think about this? All I have to do is ask Brooke. What should I do now, Brooke? I moaned. I can't think straight anymore. Well, I'm glad you asked, Dad. I knew you'd look like a pretty good catch to most soccer or softball moms. These ladies confirmed this today. You should not put up with a woman who lies and cheats. You deserve better and I will help you get it. But first, you need to get rid of the ballast. 'Twas the night before Brooke's first game in the state playoffs, and Natalie had to leave for another business trip. She promised Brooke that she would drive all day if necessary to make it back in time for the game to start. This last lie helped us ease our conscience. There was a knock on the room door from room service. They brought a bottle of champagne. I convinced the management that the couple from room 402 was very close to us, and we wanted to surprise them. It all sounded very friendly and loving. When the door opened, I put a 20 in the guy's shirt pocket, took the champagne and squeezed inside. Following me were Brooke, Sarah, and Sarah's mother. Natalie lay in bed, clutching the sheet to her neck. Her lover was wearing a robe and looked completely confused. We wouldn't really like to disturb you at work, I began. It's just that Sarah and Brooke wanted to celebrate the victory in the district with all their parents. The fact that Sarah hit a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 7th to tie the game and then hit the game-saving run in the top of the 8th, while Brooke hit a one-hitter and hit a triple in the 9th to score the game winner, seemed to slip away. From both of you. Try to imagine how proud Susan and I are of the girls, and then imagine what you missed. The truth is, you can't. You should have been there, but you weren't there. Susan raised 4 glasses, and I poured champagne into each. I managed to open the bottle before room service knocked on the door. I passed a glass each to Natalie and her lover. To the truth and to the success of our daughters, I said in a toast. Here's to a new direction for our lives and to ensuring that Sarah and her mom don't have to move this fall. And most importantly, for smart children and good lawyers. Sarah's mom, Susan, and I sipped pop while the girls drank soda. Don't bother going home, Steve. Sarah and I will get along just fine without you. My lawyer assures me that the agreement will allow me to keep my house and live comfortably. Sarah won't have to change schools again. You'll keep your mistress, so I think it's all pretty fair. Susan grinned, but without any amusement. Tim! Brooke! Natalie screamed. I love both of you. Don't do anything rash. Everything is not as it seems. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Natalie, I answered with relief, because it looks like you're bare-assed in bed with this asshole. Which part am I seeing incorrectly? Look at it this way, Mom, Brooke added. You don't have to lie to avoid attending my events. You can have sex with anyone, anytime, without feeling guilty. You won't have to worry about infecting your dad with AIDS or sexually transmitted diseases. You will never see how upset he was when he found out that he was a cuckold. I know that you want the same thing for Dad that I do, that he be happy. Somehow, I think he will be happy now. Thanks for everything, Mom. Just don't embarrass me by showing up at any event I'm attending, okay? All 4 of us walked out the door and Natalie was sobbing quietly.